As a leader, you're facing a monumental shift. The rise of AI isn't just changing our tools, it's changing the very nature of our businesses and the people we need on our teams. So, where do you start? Today, we're giving you a complete leadership playbook in 3 acts. First, we'll cover the why, the massive advantage that comes with being an early adopter. Then, we'll give you the what, a tangible blueprint for the company of the future. And finally, we'll deliver the how, the crucial strategies for leading your team through this transformation. Welcome to the Property Management Framebreakers podcast. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez, and I am here to introduce you to the folks in the property management space that have broken the frame of what you may believe was possible. This podcast is presented by Vendoroo. It is your all-in-one AI solution for resolving your maintenance needs. Let's go. So, why should you, as a leader, risk moving first? What's the real advantage of being an early adopter in an era of massive change? To answer that, we need to look at someone who has a track record of seeing the future before it arrives. Stacey Salyer built and sold a highly successful property management company by betting on a trend that seemed crazy to everyone else back in 2016, remote work.
So when I opened my own business in 2016, that was when prop tech was really starting to explode. Sure. And I opened my business with a very specific purpose. I was a full-time single mom of 3, and my eldest was doing travel baseball. I knew that I needed to be available for my 3 kids, but also for my business. So I opened to run remote, which was very different back then. My first employee was actually a remote team member out of Mexico. Again, I always was looking at whatever challenges we had, how could I provide solutions? And then I got a call from Pure Property Management and said, hey, come talk to me. And I said, well, I'm not really looking at selling my company. Yeah. And they said, well, come talk to me. It was a very intriguing offer. And the thing that I liked about it was that I could basically do what I did, built a beautiful business on a local level, but I could help do it on a national level. So there were quite a few of us entrepreneurs throughout the US that ended up selling in 2022. And I stayed on for a couple of years.
That success wasn't a fluke. It was the direct result of a core philosophy that Stacey lives by, a mindset that is essential for any leader navigating change today.
You know, for me, I love to work in the future. So that's one thing whenever I've worked with anybody, especially like through mentoring or training, if you're working here in the present, you're behind. So take a look, what is coming down the pipeline?
Basically, strategize. Take a look down the road. If you're looking at today, you're behind. But living in the future comes with a side effect. People in the present often think you're crazy. For Stacey, that's not a deterrent, it's a compass.
My first employee was actually a remote team member out of Mexico. Again, people thought, wow, you're crazy, that's weird. Yeah. And I had the vision to look at that and say, okay, well, so this is kind of my frame. If somebody says, oh, that sounds interesting or that sounds kind of crazy, then I know I'm on the right path. Yeah. It's pretty much how I live my life. I had friends, I had people say, I can't believe that you are opening your own business. You're a single mom of 3, like that's crazy. And I said, that's how I know I'm doing the right thing.
So if being called crazy is the compass pointing us toward the future, what does that future actually look like? To understand the scale of this change, we need to go way back in time. The shift we're experiencing with AI isn't just an upgrade. It's what I call a sideways wheel moment, a fundamental change in how we apply technology to get work done. Imagine we are our ancestors. We're sitting around the fire in a cave, and we're shaping clay around a slab. It's a wheel that turns, and it spins, and you make bowls with it. And then one day, somebody grabs that thing and turns it on its side. That's the moment the wheel went from being a means of creativity and productivity to a means of transportation. This idea of having a sideways wheel for creativity, turning it on its side, and now it creates motion is a very germane comparison to the difference between generative AI and agentic AI. You've been using this technology to craft better emails, to help you think through some things and be creative. But once you turn it on its side, once it becomes agentic, now it can take you places. Now it becomes something that really
creates a different future.
This leap from generative to agentic AI is the engine that will power the next generation of property management companies. So, if agentic AI can handle the motion, the tasks, the follow-ups, the logistics, what does that mean for our human teams? What does the new org chart actually look like?
I asked her what she thought if she were to be starting a property management company today, what that would look like. How would this sideways wheel moment that we're going through right now affect the org chart and how you build a business around it? And she said some really compelling things. She said if she were to do it, she would have a community builder, somebody that is a local touch point, that is, managing vendor relationships and client relationships and bringing people together and being seen. She would have a educator / marketer kind of person, a storyteller that would be in charge of, getting the message out of what they're doing. And she would have somebody that is a specialist in hard conversations, right? Like highly emotionally intelligent person that can bring calm to a tense moment. And everything else would be AI and technology, done by AI and technology.
A community builder, an educator, and a specialist in hard conversations. Notice what all three of those roles have in common. They are entirely focused on building human connection. This isn't an accident. It's a strategic response to a fundamental shift in what creates value. It's the blueprint for building a new kind of competitive advantage, a new moat.
So this idea of like re-engineering your org chart to have these skill sets and being fully dedicated to going from a task management org chart to a trust building org chart. What's very clear to me is that the ability to do tasks is going to become an absolute commodity. It's not going to be a moat. The capacity to do tasks is not going to be the moat that prevents the person from doing it themselves or from, like hiring somebody else over you. It's going to be something else. It's going to be the trust that they have in your ability to make hard moments feel easy. And that comes with being the most human, not the most automated.
So we have our why, the early adopter's advantage. And we have our what, the blueprint for an AI-first, trust-based company. But that brings us to the final and most difficult part of the playbook, the how. How do you lead your team through this monumental shift? The biggest obstacle isn't adopting the tech, it's overcoming the powerful pull of the past.
The authors talk about a concept called gravity. And gravity is essentially all the momentum that is built around the old way of doing things that will hold you back from this new momentum of doing things. When we talk about like Netflix versus Blockbuster, Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix. The reason why they didn't buy it is not because they didn't see value, it's because they just thought they could do it. And when it started going well, they started seeing revenue per square foot of retail storefront drop. And that's when people were like, we got to kill this DVD by mail program because it's cannibalizing our product. That's just inevitable gravity that happened. We had Jason Hall on a past podcast call him, make a comparison of like hiders versus true believers. And there's the folks that are the true believers in what you're doing that are really going to like embrace this thing, push it forward and succeed. And then there's the hiders that will pretend that they like it, right? But like that they're not really into it, but they're just hiding their intentions.
That's the challenge, the gravity of old habits and the team members who quietly resist the future. So what's the force strong enough to overcome that gravity? It's not a new process or a piece of software. It's leadership. It's the leader's number one job to relentlessly cast a vision for what's next. I want to share a personal story about what that kind of leadership truly looks like in the face of incredible resistance.
Over Easter, I got to hang out with my dad. He was telling me this story of a company. He was working for this Venezuelan family office. They took him to Spain to buy this department store chain. He was going to have to let go of somewhere around like 50% of the workforce. And then a year and a half later was when it was going to start to work. And he told me this story of having to go on this like road show from like store to store as he's laying people off, and he's like this villain. But he was there to paint the vision of what's next.
That's what real leadership looks like, continually casting that vision. And the core of that vision, the message we have to deliver to our teams today, is that the very definition of value is changing. It's a shift away from the old currency of completed tasks.
This isn't going to be an era of how much more you can do, right? Like, this is going to be an era of what you do that drives the most impact. It's not going to be task-based anymore. It's not going to be based on capacity of task. It's going to be based on promise and reliability and magnitude of outcomes that you can create for people. So there's going to be some letting go of this past for you, for your team. You're going to have to lead them through the ability to let go of value based on tasks, because AI is going to be the taskmaster for you. AI is going to have way more capacity than the folks on your team, but it's not going to have the ability to drive these outcomes like a human to human can.
So there it is, the complete leader's playbook. A compelling reason why you must act now, a clear blueprint for what you need to build, and a powerful guide for how to lead your team to get there. The leader's role in this new era isn't about managing the work. It's about casting the vision. It's about overcoming gravity, finding your true believers, and building a company where AI handles the tasks so your people can focus on what truly matters, building trust and creating value.